Then the third regulation we will see into the kidney function, that how it is functioning and how it is regulating. So for that we should know a basic term that is known as the RAS mechanism. What is this RAS mechanism? Let us see basic, then we will see with the help of a diagram. RAS mechanism is actually telling about the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. It is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Okay, so this is what the RAS mechanism. What is the meaning of this process actually? This is our heart, this is our kidney actually. Okay, so from the kidney we have seen there are the lot of the nephron. Okay, so at the junction of the afferent arteriole and the DCT, there are some specific cells which are known as the JG cells. These are known as the JG cells. These are actually having juxtaglomerulus cells, and they are secreting the juxtaglomerulus hormone, which is known as the renin hormone. It will release the renin hormone, RENIN. This spelling is important, RENIN, because one more renin is there, that is a RENNIN, that is a casein protein digester. Okay, so that we have seen into the digestive system. So this is the RENIN. This renin will go to the liver. Okay, it will go to the liver cell and into the liver. This is the liver cell, and from the liver, and it will stay. Renin will go to the liver. It will stimulate the liver to secrete the angiotensinogen enzyme, and this angiotensinogen is actually it is actually what it is the like we can say inactive form. So this angiotensinogen will be converting into the angiotensin first with the help of the renin. So who is converting the angiotensin first? It is converting with the help of the renin into the angiotensin first. Then from the lungs, one more enzyme is coming out, that is known as the angiotensin convertase enzyme, ACE. This ACE will cause the conversion of the angiotensin first into the angiotensin second. This is the angiotensin second, which is most important, and it is actually responsible for complete functioning. This is the activated form. Okay, this is the activated. So what is the function of this angiotensin second? This angiotensin second is responsible for giving the signal to the DCT. Okay, this is the DCT which was doing the conditional reabsorption here. Into the conditional reabsorption was doing by the nephron. Okay, so that is what the DCT is doing, but DCT function is to do the reabsorption on some condition. Okay, but that will be like DCT will say that I cannot do my function until I will not get the signal from the at least 3 organs of the body. So one, we have seen that from the renin and liver and lungs, they are secreting some enzyme. Because of that, angiotensinogen is converting, angiotensinogen will giving the signal. So this is only the angiotensin second which is giving the signal to the lungs, to the DCT part for the reabsorption. So angiotensin will give the another signal to the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus will give the signal to the posterior pituitary, and from the posterior pituitary, one hormone that is named as the vasopressin. It is the vasopressin hormone. Okay, so vasopressin also known as antidiuretic hormone. So this vasopressin or the antidiuretic hormone is actually giving the signal to the DCT for the reabsorption. And one more term it is causing, it is doing the vasoconstriction. It is also causing the vasoconstriction. Okay, so this is the function. And then next, angiotensin second is giving the signal to the kidney. Okay, it is giving the signal to the kidney, and we know in the kidney we are having the adrenal gland above the kidney. Okay, we are having the adrenal gland, and from the adrenal gland, adrenal cortex actually, from the adrenal cortex, one hormone is secreting, that is known as the aldosterone. It is the aldosterone. This aldosterone will come and will give the signal to the DCT part. Okay, so this aldosterone is actually giving the signal to the DCT for the reabsorption. Hypothalamus giving the signal via the ADH hormone for the reabsorption to the DCT. Angiotensin itself is giving the signal to the DCT for the reabsorption. Now the three terms has been completed: aldosterone, angiotensin itself, and the vasopressin. These three are giving the signal to the DCT, and then DCT finally will do the reabsorption. Okay, it will give the reabsorption function. Reabsorption of what? Reabsorption of water and ions. Okay, so now because of the reabsorption is started, so what will happen? It will cause the glomerulus filtration rate will increase. If it is increasing, automatically what happen? Blood pressure is increasing. Blood pressure increasing means our heart rate increasing. Heart rate will increase. Okay, so that is how our heartbeat is increasing. Okay, so like this. And one more word here itself I am showing. Angiotensin is not only giving the signal to the adrenal cortex, TCD and the vasopressin, but also it is causing the vasoconstriction. It is also causing the vasoconstriction. So because of this also the blood pressure is actually increasing. So these are actually the terms how the blood pressure is increasing. This is known as the RAS mechanism. Okay, as I told you before. But now let us see one more term here, that these are actually causing the vasoconstriction and finally the blood pressure is increasing. And one, like if suppose in our blood stream, suppose the blood pressure is low. Okay, so like some osmoreceptors are present. These osmoreceptors, because of the low flow of the blood, or the low GFR simply, if you will say, if the GFR is low, so in that case osmoreceptor will become on. If osmoreceptor will become on, they will give the signal to the renin mechanism and RAS mechanism. Renin I am writing here as a RAS. Okay, so the complete mechanism will start. So because of this complete mechanism, the blood pressure or the GFR will automatically increase. If it is increasing, what will happen? Osmoreceptor will become switch off. Okay, osmoreceptors will become switch off. So that is what the complete mechanism. Okay, so how the switch on was happening and how the switch off is actually happening. It is all because of the GFR. If GFR is increased, so because of the high GFR, osmoreceptor become on, RAS mechanism will turn on, and everything will become doing the doing this their effort to increase the GFR, and automatically GFR will cause the high GFR will cause the osmoreceptor to switch it off. Okay. Acha, these all are actually, everything is actually increasing the heart rate, but who is doing the low blood pressure? Because heart is actually functioning, na? Heart has to pump the blood. So heart, in case here, heart itself will release one hormone. Heart is having 4 chambers, so from the atrium of the heart is releasing a hormone known as the ANF, atrionatriuretic factor. This will increase, this will cause a vasodilation. So because of the vasodilation, what will happen? Heart rate will become decrease. Okay, so heart rate will be low, and low heart rate, what it will do? It will cause the normal GFR to GFR which was high, it will cause the low GFR. So heart itself is releasing one hormone, because of which heart rate is decreasing, as well as one more I told you previously, that peripheral nervous system, right? Peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So there itself peripheral nervous system also was doing the low heart rate. It was also decreasing the heart rate. So these two only was decreasing the heart rate. Rest others, everything is increasing the heart rate. Okay, now let's see our NCERT also what it is saying. That here the functioning of the kidney is efficiently monitored and regulated by the hormonal feedback. How? Which organs are included? Like brain. From the brain, hypothalamus, from the kidney, J.G. cells, and from the heart itself, ANF. Okay, so hypothalamus is giving the antidiuretic hormone, which will increasing the heart rate or glomerular filtration rate. JGSS is giving the aldosterone. This is releasing the aldosterone. Again, these two are increasing the GFR, and automatically heart rate is increasing, and the heart itself is giving the ANF, which is actually decreasing the heart rate. That's all. Okay, now let's see. Osmoreceptor in the body are activated by change in the blood volume or the fluid volume and ionic concentration. Yes, no. An increase in the loss of the fluid from the body will activate these receptor. It will stimulate the hypothalamus, that I told you, RAS mechanism, first step. Okay, so because how the RAS mechanism will actually start it, that is what they are telling here. Okay, so if the loss of the fluid will be more into the from the body, so in that case osmoreceptor will become on activated. So this will stimulate the hypothalamus to release the antidiuretic hormone, which is also known as the vasopressin. From where? From the posterior pituitary, which is also known as neurohypophysis. And what it is doing, ADH will cause the reabsorption from the later part. Later part is what? Later part is the DCT. Later part are the DCT of the nephron. Okay, they were thereby preventing the diuresis. Okay, and if suppose if the increase in the blood volume, body fluid volume, it will switch off the osmoreceptor. As the GFR will increase, it will cause the switch off of the osmoreceptor, and finally ADH will, which was releasing to complete the feedback. Now then ADH can also affect the kidney function by its constrictory effect on the blood vessel. Okay, and it is means ADH, as I told you, it was causing the vasoconstriction. Here in the RAS mechanism I showed you that ADH was causing the vasoconstriction, as well as angiotensin also causing the vasoconstriction, right? So that we should know. Okay, now let's see here. This causes an increase in the blood pressure. What will happen because of this vasoconstriction? Blood pressure will increase. And increase in the blood pressure and increase in the glomerular blood flow. Finally, what will happen? Osmoreceptor will become switch off. Okay, that is what they are telling you. Then next part, JGS has play a very important role in this. A fall in the GFR, it will give the GFR, another name they have given. It may be GFR, glomerular blood flow. It may be glomerular blood pressure. Okay, or it may be in case of the GFR itself. Okay, it will activate the JG cells to release the renin. Spelling is important. It will convert the angiotensinogen. From where angiotensinogen was coming? From the liver in the blood into the angiotensin fast. Okay, first renin will cause the release of the angiotensinogen from the liver, then it will convert the angiotensinogen into the angiotensin fast, and further into the angiotensin second. Then angiotensin second being a very powerful vasoconstrictor. Again I showed you angiotensin second, again it is causing the vasoconstriction. It will cause the increase in the blood pressure and thereby causing the glomerular filtration rate increase. Angiotensin second also activate the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone, and finally aldosterone will causes the reabsorption of the sodium and the water. What it will cause? It will cause the reabsorption of the sodium and the water from the distal part. Distal part is what? Distal part is actually the DCT part. These are the DCT part of the tubules, and this will cause the increase in the blood pressure, and finally the GFR will increase. This mechanism is known as the renin angiotensin or the renin angiotensin aldosterone mechanism. And the heart itself, the increase in the blood flow, okay, so as the blood pressure is increased, so in that case heart from the atria of it, atrial chamber of the heart, it will release the atrial natriuretic factor ANF, and this ANF can cause the vasodilation. Because of this, the decrease in the blood pressure, low blood pressure, and the ANF mechanism, thereby it is actually known as the check on the renin angiotensin mechanism. It is the check on the RAS mechanism. Okay, so this is what about the two terms. I hope this will help you. These three regulations are correlated with each other, so I took all three in one page. So, and I hope this will help you a lot in your exam on Sunday, and I hope you will do well. All the best, do well,